How you guys doing? It's your boy Logic. Make sure if this is your first time, you hit that like and subscribe button. Today, I have a very, very special talent with me today. An amazing individual, young but very wise. He goes by the name of Daniel Farias. Now,
you said it right.
I said it right.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank
Awesome. See, I was having problems all day.
Great job.
And, we're going to talk to you about some special things. But before then, allow me to introduce this show. This is One Thing for Sure, Two Things for Certain. So, Daniel, I have you here, and it's an honor because I know we tried to do this before.
Yeah. Absolutely. Well, first of all, I just appreciate you having me on the show, brother. I know we've been trying to connect this for a while, so I appreciate it. But yeah, man, so a little bit about me. My name is Daniel. I actually am a little bit newer to South Florida, so I'm from Boston originally.
Beantown.
Yes, sir. City of Champions.
Hold on. I'm a Celtics fan.
Let's go, man.
I'm a Celtics fan.
Let's go.
I can't be a Patriots. I'm Raiders all day. But
man.
Celtics, Bill Russell, the big three with Paul Pierce, Kevin Garnett, and Ray Allen.
Yeah.
Let's go, man. Boston. Sorry to cut you off, man. I just, when I find another Celtics fan, especially here in Miami, it's like a gem.
Yeah.
It's a gem.
Yeah.
So continue.
We got to stick together. No, so I moved down here from Boston back in January of this year. So the reason I moved was for, the line of work that I'm in, the business that I'm in. And I just kind of was working up there, had a job, and just felt like I was ready to make a move to kind of get to the next level in my life and in my business. And I just thought, obviously our company, we have offices down here, but I just feel like South Florida, there's just a lot more room to grow. Now there's a lot of obviously
opportunities.
There's opportunities. There's there's a lot of, in the business world, a lot of very successful people down here, and I think it's just a great place to network and develop as an entrepreneur and just get to the next level. So I'm super excited.
I hear that, man. I definitely hear that. Definitely a lot of opportunities here. No matter what field you're in, whether it's mechanical, whether it's finance, whether it's entrepreneurship, Miami is slowly, in my opinion, becoming the city of dreams. It's like we're like a mix between New York and California,
yeah.
But we have our own uniqueness to it.
Yeah.
So for everyone to understand, your field of work now is life insurance, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
Before we get into that, let's talk about you first. How'd you get into that? Because that's not something, most people easily get into. How did you get into life insurance?
Yeah, so before I was in the insurance industry, I was actually working at a retail job. I used to work at Verizon, and I was doing like cell phone sales.
Okay.
And actually how I was introduced to this opportunity, it was actually a gentleman I was kind of introduced at my job, and I was helping him set up a phone, and we started talking, and he said, are you, I guess he's asked you, do you keep your options open? Are you open in general? Are you open to making more money? And of course, at the time I was doing like fairly well for myself, but I always wanted to do more with my life, and I've always felt like I wanted to do something big and have like a bigger impact, and I knew I wanted to go into business. I just wasn't sure quite which route.
Okay.
So I gave it a shot. I knew that you could make a lot of money in this industry, but you could also help a lot of people. And I ended up hopping on a Zoom call with my broker, and we had a good conversation. And I said, why not give it a shot? And I just fell in love with the opportunity in the industry, and I love educating people about what we do because I just feel like there's very much a lack of financial education and
Very much
education when it comes to life insurance. So
very much so. So I know that you said that you were presented this as an opportunity. You know, a lot of people, opportunity knocks on the door every day. Realistically, we just have to be the ones to wake up and actually open the door for ourselves. How, like, were you ever nervous to actually come down here? You know, because you're relocating, you're leaving where home is into uncharted territory. Is that something that kind of made you feel like uncomfortable, or you wanted to embrace it? How did that make you feel?
yeah, so that's a good question. I've always been very adventurous, and I don't really have a lot of fears, I would say, and I would consider myself like a fairly big like risk taker.
I like that.
And I'm not afraid to fall on my face and fail forward. And essentially, that's what I did. I was like, you know what? I feel very capped here in New Hampshire. That's where my family's from. It's very comfortable, and I just was like, I want to move down here, and I want to make the move that's gonna set me up long term to have massive success. And so I just went for it, man. I was the first couple months I was down here, is obviously you're adjusting. It's a new place. Mm-hmm. I've always loved the South though, because when I was a kid, I used to live on the Panhandle, so like Pensacola, Florida,
right there.
You know where that is?
Yeah, of course.
And
Panama City, right there too, man.
Right?
Whoa, college days.
Yeah.
Thank God there was no video back then.
Yeah,
we're safe.
100%. But yeah, so I've always loved the South. When I went to school, I actually went to school in the Atlanta area. So I've always liked the South more. I'd rather have even when it comes to the weather, like I'd rather have it be a little bit hotter than, extremely cold.
I feel you on that one, because Boston, let me tell you something. My family's from Boston. Mm-hmm. I could deal with hurricanes. I could deal with heat. I could deal with rain. Snow, madness. It's cold. It's quiet. And for those
it's slippery.
Oh yeah, black ice is a real thing. It's not a car scent.
They don't know how to drive in that down here.
No. I'll be the first to tell you, we can't drive for nothing out here. We drive reckless. I'm not proud of that, but I have to be honest. Boston, you have to be aggressive driving out there. You have to be aggressive. But being that you said that you like, the season over here, what's crazy is because Boston has the 4 seasons. You got fall, you got summer, you got winter, you got autumn. Here we got hot as hell. The devil's breathing on us, and I think the sun is trying to cook us. That's what we have here. And I still take that versus the 4 seasons,
For sure. Same here.
But how did your family feel with you taking that leap? Because a lot of times when we try to chase success or chase our dreams, there's a part where we have to separate from our family, unfortunately. And that can have big impact, especially depending how close we are to siblings or our parents itself. How did they take that when you told them that you wanted to come down here?
Yeah, so the cool thing with my parents is we have a very good relationship. We're very close, and they were 100% supportive of me moving down here. And it's actually interesting because I'm an only child, so
that's even crazier, being an only child. My baby, he's my only one. Like, no,
yeah.
What do you mean you want to leave? What do you mean?
Yeah. No, I've always been very independent, even though like we have a good relationship. I've always been, kind of do my own thing. But they were. I mean, I had visited down here a couple times last year before I officially made the move.
Okay.
And I had visited our office a couple times, gotten to meet some more people at our agency, and I had, done a little bit of, praying, whatever, just making sure it's the right move, had peace. And I was just like, I'm ready to move. I didn't want to wait anymore. I actually wanted to leave before the new year. I wanted to leave in
you
November.
wanted to, your New Year's today.
Yeah, I was urgent. I was ready to move like now, like we got to go.
Okay.
But didn't work out that way, and I think it was good because I got to spend the holidays with my family, which was awesome. And
one more time.
Yeah.
You know, you got to make the memories last because you never know when you go chasing your dreams how you may be distracted from family traditions. Unfortunately, that's part of the game. So I think, you know, especially when you sit down and you pray about it, I think that's what's really important. You want to seek guidance and make sure you're doing the right thing because, you know, I know they say life is a game of chess, but it's also a game of checkers because every time you make a move, you're sacrificing something. And in this case, you move down here and you sacrifice the comfortability being with your family.
Yeah.
You know, so I give you respect for that. That's not something that's easy, especially, you know, for anyone, especially being a single child, you know, like this is all you know. And you're going somewhere where you don't have a clue. You don't have no one. You're really out here in the trenches by yourself. So salute to you, brother, you know?
Yeah, man. No, it was cool. I didn't even have a place to stay when I moved down here.
No?
No.
Oh man, you said, I'm running with it.
Yeah.
Touchdown.
I just packed up my bags and went. I didn't have a plan. My plan was fall forward and that was it. So
jump. Hopefully you land on your feet, but
absolutely,
you jump.
Man. Yeah.
I like that, man.
Yeah.
I think that's admirable because it shows your determination and how bad you really want it. A lot of us stay comfortable, and that's something that ends up hindering us. When you go for something that makes you uncomfortable, that's where you really know who you are. Your back's against the rope. It's like fight or flight, and you chose to fight, you know?
Yeah, man.
Now, I see that you're close to your parents. Let's talk about your mom first, you know, because I want them to get an introduction and understand, like, this is big, you know, to some, you know, it's like, oh, you know, like, no, this is big. You took a leap. So your mom, that's the first love of your life. That's for most of us men. That's the first love of our life.
Absolutely. Mama's
was she supportive all the way from the beginning, or was she like hesitant, like, no, think about it, or like, how was that for you?
No, she was pretty supportive, I would say. I mean, I'd had conversations with her, both her and my dad, and you know, she for the most part, like in my life, like with the decisions that I've made, she's been pretty supportive. But I think you know, it's interesting because my parents are, you know, they're believers too. They're faith based, so they actually had prayed about it as well, and they had peace that it was the right move, and they said, we have peace. We feel like it's the right move. So I guess you could say I got their blessing or whatever. But no, it was very chill, relaxing. They were like, oh, what are you doing? Like, why are you doing this?
They were more supportive. And your father, because like my father, you know, that's a big thing when you tell your father, hey, I'm leaving the nest. You know, like you've been under his command for so many years. Now you're finding your feet beneath the ground. So how did that work out with your father? How did he feel about that?
Yeah, so I mean, I've always been very like independent. So I lived on my own. Like I went to school in Georgia, and then I lived on my own in Georgia after I graduated college. And then I actually was staying with my parents for a little while when I was back home, but I had, I have a house up there. So your own house? Yeah, my own house.
Okay.
So I've always kind of been, my own man, but I've always like been there for my parents. And they actually a few years ago, right around when COVID came in 2020, they had some.
When you say COVID, brother,
dude,
I think we're still healing from that.
Yeah, well, it changed a lot of things. The world's not the same. It won't be the same. So.
Ever. Cheers to the good times. Continue, sorry.
No, you're good. But back in 2020, they had some serious like health issues. So my mom had, and this kind of ties into like my career within the life insurance industry, but I'll just kind of touch on it. But my mom had cancer, so she had you know what a sarcoma is?
Yes, I do.
So she had that on her leg. It's like for your viewers, if they don't know what it is, it's basically like a cancerous tumor.
Yeah, that
that
keeps grows. That's continuously growing, and it's damaging tissues as it continues growing.
Yeah,
that's a serious sickness, man.
Yeah, it is, and it was spreading, quickly. So she had to do surgery, and she had to go through like multiple surgeries that year, and it was a brutal surgery. Like,
and this is in the midst of COVID, where unfortunately people are dying left and right, and that's all you see on the news. And it's like, my mother is now going to the one place you don't want to go, and that's the hospital.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
But it's cool because there was, when COVID came around, there was a lot of fear, and what my family, my parents, myself, we never subscribed to that. Like,
say that again. I like how you put that. Say that again.
So when COVID came around, there was a lot of fear, and people were just scared of, of
the unknown,
of dying. Everybody's wearing masks, and but like my family, my parents, and myself never like subscribed to that fear, because they're again they're faith based. We're people of faith, and we were just like, this is not going to affect like how we necessarily live our lives, or like,
you denounce the negativity.
Correct. And I'm not saying it wasn't real, or
no, not at all,
or whatnot, but it's just, I feel like especially today's day and age, the media, they just love to instill fear in the general population. They like to create like havoc, division. But anyways, not to go on a rabbit trail, but we were. It was during that time, so it was rough. It was a weird year, and but right at that time, my dad also had a stroke.
Oh, okay. Double back. Yeah. So we're in the midst of COVID. Your mother ends up having a cancerous tumor that's growing rapidly, and your father has a stroke, and you're an only child.
Yeah.
Holy mo. Okay.
And at the time, I was living in Atlanta.
You were in school, so you're not even home to see him or care for him in the manner that you want.
Yeah.
How
correct.
old were you at that time?
I was 25.
Bro, you were a baby, bro. That's a lot of pressure, man. That's a lot of pressure to deal with. Continue. Sorry.
Yeah. No, it was interesting because I was in Atlanta, and I was, kind of doing my own thing, my own career, and then I was actually not gonna move, back home, because I used to be an actor. I was in the film TV industry, and that was kind of the goal, the dream.
So you were okay. Let me circle around. For y'all don't know that, I find, okay. Number one, to leave the nest is not easy for anyone. Two, you really were out here pursuing your dreams. Like, you didn't leave a stone unturned. So you're in Georgia, going to school and trying to become an actor at that point.
Yeah.
Holy mo! How did you get into that? That's.
Well, I always wanted to be an actor growing up. So like I was always very creative and loved expressing myself, loved movies, films. I was a character. I'd act out like scenarios, like
improv.
Yeah, like improv, and just do stupid things. Like one time I was 9 years old. I was at the kitchen table with my parents, and I just made myself cry for whatever reason. It was really
on command.
Yeah, well, yeah, and I don't know why I did it, but I was just very expressive, had a big imagination, and I thought that's where my path was gonna take me, and I loved it. And then one day, and it was right around that. It was during 2020, after my parents had, been having their health issues, where
Your
just
mom
like,
with the cancer and your dad with the stroke.
correct. And I was just like, I don't want to do this anymore. I'm gonna come back home. I feel burnt out because it's it's a competitive industry, and I loved it for a while, but I just felt like there was a different plan for me.
Okay.
And ended up moving back home.
You took care of your parents, like
Yeah,
with your father having a stroke. How did that make you feel? Because your father's naturally your hero, so
Yeah.
it's like Superman is down.
Yeah.
How did that affect you?
That was tough because when you have a stroke, basically what happens is your chemistry, your brain chemistry completely gets like rewired. It's like a computer. And when you have a stroke, it's like the computer crashes. And he really, after the stroke, and thankfully they caught it in time before it was, life-threatening. But after the stroke, he had a lot of trouble like sleeping. And I won't get into details, but it was like it really affected him like mentally after a while.
Of course.
And not being able to get like sleep. So he ended up having to go to the hospital and do several stints in the hospital. And we actually didn't see him for Thanksgiving or Christmas that year. It was just me and my mom for Thanksgiving and Christmas.
And she's recovering at this point too.
Correct. Yeah, so she's still kind of bedridden, and it was tough, man. I was a little angry.
Rightfully so.
Rightfully
so. That's a lot for anyone to take, especially it's bad enough to have one parent down, but to have both, like that's something that takes a lot of inner strength to endure and to keep positive and keep moving forward. So
yeah,
I feel you on that one.
Yeah, but it all worked out. Thankfully they're alive and well and healthy.
Amen.
So my dad got through it. He did like some treatment, helped him out a ton, and came out of it the other side. And my mom's doing better now. So I'm just thankful they're with us. They're still with me, because you can't take them for granted.
No, you can't.
So
we are oblivious to the time that we're given. So with everything that came into faith, now I see how you got into is that what pushed you into the direction of life insurance, that made you say, punch that ticket, like, yeah, I want to do this because of that on the back burner?
Yeah, I would say so. At first it was just like, you can make a lot of money, it's lucrative. But with life insurance, you're really on a mission, you're on a crusade to like at our company we call it like the crusade, or like selling the crusade of.
And the name of the company that you're with is PHP, right?
Yeah, PHP agency.
Okay, for you guys to understand, PHP is people helping people. I love that slogan. I think that's a very strong slogan when you think about it. So as you're getting involved with PHP, and of course we hear the zeros. When we have hopes and dreams of having our bank account looking like our phone numbers, that's the motivation right there. But for you, it was a different calling because you got deeper into it, right?
Yeah, for sure. So how really it connected with my parents' situation is when something happens to you medically, and most Americans are going to have some kind of medical issues as they get older, like 70, plus. And when you have medical issues, a lot of people think that health insurance will cover you completely for like certain medical bills.
That's not always the case, brother.
It's not. And where life insurance comes into play is, let's say that you have, a life-threatening like injury or a life-threatening medical incident. So, like my mom, for instance, had cancer. My dad had a stroke. If someone has a heart attack, if someone is diagnosed with 6 to 12 months to live, terminal illness. If someone has, chronic illness where they're not able to perform 2 of the 6 basic activities of daily living, bathing, toileting, continency.
What we take for granted because we can do it naturally, and at any given moment it could be taken away from you.
Yeah, correct. And if something like that happens to you, then health insurance is not going to pay for the care.
No,
health insurance isn't going to pay for the rest of your bills that you have to pay.
We kept you alive.
Yeah.
Be happy with that. Figure it out. That's usually how it goes, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And even then, we have it made because there's in other countries, you don't even get into the door of a hospital sometimes. So I get what you're saying. It's very complex, unfortunately. Very complex.
Yeah. Yeah, so, and it's just, I wish, again, that someone had sat down and, educated them on how you could use that. It's something called living benefits is what we call it in the life insurance industry.
Living benefits.
But being able to access the death benefit while you're alive.
Explain that whole, okay, so you say living benefits and then death benefits.
Yeah.
Can you break down living benefits for us? Because, again, I'm learning as we go.
Yeah.
I know life insurance is important, but if you could explain how the portion of life benefits, how that works.
Yeah, absolutely. So living benefits basically covers you in the event that, like I had just said, if you have chronic illness, if you have critical illness, which is, could be a cancer, stroke, heart attack, if you have terminal illness where you're diagnosed with a certain amount of time to live, and then if you get critical injury like a car accident or some other accident, and you're not able to work, you can access, let's say that you have a policy with a death benefit of $500,000 that normally, in most instances, if you died, if you passed away, then your family gets cut that check. But if you get diagnosed with some kind of medical illness like the ones I just mentioned,
that impairs your ability to operate and function like a normal person would.
Yeah, then you can typically access 80 to 90% of the death benefit while you're alive. Yeah.
Now, do you get penalized for that, or is it like, tax wise or anything like that?
Nope. So all life insurance is tax free.
Really?
Correct.
Okay, good to know. Make sure you guys keep that in mind, because I don't like taxes. I know you guys don't like taxes. I know you don't like taxes. Taxes are essential. They're needed.
Yeah.
I just don't like them.
Yeah, 100%. And so basically what'll happen is, you can call up the insurance company and, you tell them what illness you have. It works the same way as when you file a claim for a death benefit. You file the claim, and if it's for certain instances, like they'll just cut you the check like in one sitting. So like
in one large sum.
It could be like 390, 400,000, whatever of that 500,000. Obviously, you got to check the life insurance contract, the policy. And then if it's I believe if it's terminal illness, they'll cut you a monthly check every month,
like an allowance. That way you could budget
it's
it
like
out.
An income check,
like Social Security
to cover you. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Now, with that being said, man, I think a lot of times we never imagine a day in our lives that might be upside down. I could actually relate to it because, as I told you before, I got in a motorcycle accident, and I know my mom wasn't happy, but I said I'm worth more dead than I am alive at that point, because these things do factor in where you want to give peace of mind to your family, because at the end, you may be the one who perished, but they have to still continue living and dealing with that. And 9 out of 10 times, people are not, especially in our generation, are not prepared for a death in the family or prepared for an illness in the family.
Yeah.
You know, these things come out of way left field. There's like no prediction. Oh, you're going to get sick this month, or God forbid, you're going to crash that month. Like it's random, Idle Tuesday. So what would you say to encourage, you know, our generation to get involved in, to indulge in, to really learn about this? Because I personally believe it's important. Life insurance is very important, and I think it's something that a lot of people stay away from because they hear the horror stories. And like you said, when it's introduced, it's considered lucrative, but it's essential. Just like you have car insurance, doesn't mean you're going to get in an accident. We live in Miami. Everyone drives like crap, you know, or health insurance. You're guaranteed to get sick one day. You know you're going to perish one day. Why don't you have this coverage? You know, so what would you say to those individuals who might be scared to get involved and get a policy for themselves? And can you get policies for, you know, your loved ones? That's another question.
Yeah, so I'll answer both of those. So you have to view what I really find is that people don't understand how life insurance plays into your finances.
Okay.
And how it's not just about, a lot of people just look at life insurance from a surface level, and that it's you know, if again, it's very morbid, you know, if I get life insurance, then if I pass away, then someone gets my money. But life insurance is, if you think about a financial home and you're constructing your financial home, think of life insurance as being the foundation of your financial home.
Okay.
So, and what that means is life insurance protects all of your assets and what you own. And it basically, it's the concept of life insurance is about like wealth transfer.
Okay.
So
you say wealth transfer. Can you go a little bit deeper into that for me?
Yeah. So, and it's interesting because, like, for instance, I don't have a family right now. I'm not married. I don't have kids. I'm pretty sure you're in the same boat.
Yep. Not yet.
Not yet, man.
Not
it's
yet.
It's coming.
We'll be there. We'll get there.
It's definitely coming.
Listen, I know you're out there. Maybe you need to break up with who you're with now. I don't know where you are, but I will find you. He's gonna find you too. We're looking for y'all ladies. Okay, we're just trying to find the right one.
Correct.
You know, we're men of value. We don't 100%. Want the whole buffet. We want the solid meal. You know.
Amen. Amen. But yeah, so if you think about life insurance, it really protects, and I'll make it like very basic to like very easy to understand our viewers. So life insurance will protect anything that you own. So let's say that you have a house, and let's say that you just bought a house and you have a 30-year mortgage on it. So you can use life insurance policy as your mortgage protection.
Like collateral type?
Yeah, basically. So, for instance, if you have a house, you just bought it, you've got 30 years to pay it off, that's debt, right? That's 30 years of debt. So let's say you get a $300,000 home, right? Well, that's not even an accurate number now, but I'll just use that as an example. And let's say that you have a wife, you have kids, but even if you don't, like even if you have, parents, like I have a house and I have a life insurance policy. If anything happens to me, God forbid, then I want to leave that home passed down as an asset rather than a liability.
Because naturally, if you didn't have it set up, I'm gaining your debt. I'm not getting an asset. I'm inheriting your debt of what you owed on it.
Yeah,
okay.
Correct. So it's like, you got to ask the question, like, do you want to pass on assets or do you want to pass on liabilities to your family? So, so that's a big one, is mortgage protection. It's also, it covers you in the event, let's say you have a primary breadwinner, it covers you in the event of you lose their income. So life insurance
Like
acts
loss
as,
of employment
yeah, well, like that
because of illness.
well, no, so if they pass away, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then and let's say they're the primary breadwinner or one of the breadwinners, then the income that they've been making, life insurance acts as basically their income replacement.
Okay, I get what you're saying now. So, and God forbid, in an unfortunate event, it basically takes place of that individual in your life, so you can continue and be protected.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
That's important.
Yeah.
It's very important.
Yeah. And then it will also, life insurance also covers you if you have any other like remaining debts, unsecured debt. Mm-hmm. And then also if you have kids, it will help pay for their education.
And education is very expensive.
Yeah.
Extremely expensive. I do have a question for you.
Yeah.
Now, a lot of times, you know, especially on TikTok and Instagram, we see people saying, well, you could use your life insurance and borrow from it and buy assets. Mm-hmm. Is that true?
That's very true.
How does that work? Because I don't know how that. It's not like, can I literally go to my policy? Hey, you know, I want to buy this, so I'm going to borrow from this. Mm-hmm. Like, how does that work? Because how long do you have to be paying for that life insurance in order to borrow from it? And when you do borrow from it, is it like a 401k where your interest is you paying yourself back with the interest you're paying on top of it? Or are you taxed for it? Like, how does that whole process work necessarily?
Yeah. So you can utilize a life insurance policy. I call it, it's called a cash value life insurance.
Okay.
And how it works is a policy that you will contribute to either every month or every year. And because some people,
you can do yearly.
You can fund it yearly.
Okay.
Yep.
That's good to know.
And you'll fund it. And then over a certain amount of time, the cash value, so there's every month, let's say that you pay a premium into your policy. A portion of that monthly premium goes towards what's called your cost of insurance or is your death benefit.
Okay. Does that also tie into a HSA, which is a health savings account? Does that fall in? No? Okay.
No.
Have to ask because, again, I don't know. I want to make sure. Okay.
No, yeah, they're separate.
Okay.
So no, we are strictly a life insurance. I'm a life insurance expert, not health accounts. Okay. But so when you're paying in monthly, a certain portion of your premium will go towards your cost of insurance, and then the rest of the premium will go into your what's called your cash value account. And that cash value account is basically the cash value that you dump into the account. Mm-hmm. It grows, it builds up equity based off of the S&P 500 index.
So it's like opening up a disc with a bank, but just at a better rate.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, correct.
Instead of being 0.5, it's in a higher value.
100%.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
So, and that's a good point that you bring up because a lot of people, a lot of clients that I talk to, they will put a certain amount of money away every month to their savings account. Mm-hmm. But I always ask them, well, what do you think the bank does with your money?
They lend it out.
They lend it out, they invest it, and they earn an interest.
And you get back peanuts versus they're getting major capital off of it. Yeah, yeah, it's
yeah.
I would like to say we've been bamboozled, you know, especially when you know that's going on. I know that you're into stocks and crypto. We use stake. You know, like I stake my earnings and I have it reinvested when I get it back.
Right.
It's pretty much the same thing with life insurance. You essentially could stake it.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. And when you, and also like every time that you deposit your monthly premium, what happens is because your cash value is growing based on, the S&P 500, which is like one of the standard, indexes or indices.
Yeah.
What happens is every time that the market is doing well, every time that there's upside in the market, you get a percentage of the growth. So you won't get, like, let's say, for instance, that the market has a good year, goes up by 20%. In your index, you would have a cap of, let's say it's usually 10%, 9 or 10%. And then you have a floor of 0.
Okay.
So how that works is every time that the market earns, your account gets credited the interest up to the cap.
Oh, excuse my French. Oh, shit. Okay.
Yeah.
That sounds, in layman terms, pretty much when the economy wins, you win, essentially. Now, what happens when you lose? Does that, like, say that you're not hitting, economy fails, does that impact you as well, or does it stay stagnant?
Yeah, so the cool thing is with indexing is if the market does crash or loses a lot of money, you're guaranteed no losses.
So you have a safety net in place.
So you have a safety net in place. So there's no risk.
How I wish I would have learned about this when I was in my teenager years. I should have been doing this since I was working at 14. Man, I'm late to the game. But it's okay, guys. We have the right person to explain it to you. All right, continue.
Yeah. So, but basically how I describe it is like if you think of like the stock market and or any aggressive account, your stocks, your crypto, your 401ks, IRAs, if that account and a savings account had a baby, it would be this.
I like how you put that. Yeah. Okay. So, question. A lot of people know this. How do they get started? You understand what I'm saying? Because you could have a dream, but if you don't have a plan drawn up, chances are you're not even going to get started. So how would one go about that? Like, what would be the recommendation? Say, use my nephew as a reference. He's 17. He's about to get his first job. He could do that privately, I'm assuming, because PHP is a private organization. It's not something that's supplied. Like in my case, when I was working for Best Buy, I had life insurance throughout the company.
Right.
So the earlier you start, the better for yourself, correct?
Of course, because of the power of time and compounding interest.
Wow. So if you were to advise somebody, what would be the percentage that you would recommend they take from their pay to invest and get into a policy? Like, what percentage would that be? Like in my case, I was giving 12% to my 401k. I don't have kids. I don't have a wife. So I was like, let me get the max, and I know you're going to give me back 5% on top of that, so let's go, So what percentage would you recommend a young individual to start invested into life insurance?
I'd say if you're talking about building up, cash value, building up equity, I would say probably anywhere between 5 to 10%
of their income?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, I'm sure you have a policy yourself.
Yeah.
Correct. How has it changed your life? Like, what have you noticed for yourself, meaning knowledge-wise?
Yeah, so, I mean, here's a statistic for you. So the average American, they have less than $1,000 in savings.
This is correct, yep.
That they can use. If they have an emergency, they have less than 1,000.
I think it's down to 500 now.
Probably.
Believe it or not. So just to let you guys, this is not to ridicule anybody. This is to educate you guys, because a lot of us Americans, we work hard. We work hard, but we were taught to chase our dreams, but we weren't taught about finance. And finance, a lot of us don't know how money works. We don't know how to grow it. We know how to spend it, but how to grow it is a whole different topic. I just wanted to put that out there. So please continue.
Yeah. So basically, when I look at, because I've been consistently investing every month for the last like 2.5 years.
Okay.
So, and the cool thing is, when you invest with this type of policy, you can, adjust the premiums based
so
on
you
like
could,
life circumstances.
so
Like,
you're not contracted like with with certain companies with the 401k. If I decide to put 12%, I'm locked in for that year before I could change the contribution I want. But with life insurance, you could change it whether you like it or due to life events that happen.
correct.
Okay.
Correct. Yeah.
That's very important. That's
So
very important to know.
So yeah, I mean, after contributing 2 years, you see, how much your account's grown, and then also, knowing that, knowing that I can pull from that account, basically anytime I want, tax free, and not have to pay it back.
I love the tax free, and I
Yeah.
love the payback, knowing that you don't have to pay back,
Yeah.
because essentially it's your money. And with the
Correct.
compound interest that's going on with the economy going up, you inherit that, and that's how you're able to acquire more, and that's what you're able to do when it comes to gaining assets.
Yep.
Because it's literally like a piggy bank that literally fills itself up. You're just adding to it on top of that.
Correct.
I like that. You did say something to me earlier today, and I want to share it with you guys. Life insurance is not only for you, it's also for those you love so they could continue living. Can you bring into more detail what you meant by that when you told me that?
Yeah. So I think a common misconception when it comes to life insurance is that it's not going to benefit me. Which obviously we just talked about it. It definitely can.
It's going to benefit as long as you play your cards right. And don't be
Correct.
greedy. That's one thing I would have to say. Don't be greedy.
Yeah.
This is chess, not checkers in this case.
Yeah.
Okay.
Correct. But when life insurance is for, it's not supposed to be like for you, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's
Theoretically, it's not.
Yeah, it's not. You're thinking of someone else. So it's really an act of love, for those that you love. Knowing that you're not going to receive that in your lifetime, but if God forbid something happens to you, you know that your loved ones are taken care of.
And that is the best feeling in the world, because at the end, we love our family. Like in my case, I even tell my family, I joke around, I was like, turn me into a tree, celebrate my life. But before I check out, my concerns don't change. I want to make sure that even though I'm the youngest one, I want to make sure my family is okay. I want to make sure that you guys are good, and I can rest with that and have peace of mind. Because again, we always hear that, oh my God, my mom or my dad, God forbid, passed out of nowhere. What am I going to do? Or upside down. And there's only one way to defeat that and stop that from happening. And that's life insurance, and I think a lot of us, because it's a scary situation, because we're talking big numbers here and we're talking about big possibilities, a lot of us focus on the negatives and don't honestly look for the positive and look for the opportunities at hand. So, one thing for sure, two things for certain is you will get sick. How bad is it going to be? We don't know. Only God knows that. Another thing is we will perish at one point in our time. That is written in stone. The third thing is we all have loved ones. And when you have loved ones, all you want them to be able to do is prosper and have a happy, healthy, genuine life. And life insurance is something that brings that. And it also comes into mental peace. We live in a chaotic world. And in a chaotic world, having life insurance is how you create peace. That's something that I think is very vital for you guys to understand. And, you telling me this, it's like, after this, I got to, check my numbers real quick and make sure. It's like, man, we have a tendency, and let me know how you feel about this. We have a tendency to let life live us, but we're not living life. And when you have the insurance, such as life insurance, health insurance, you're living life. You know, I learned about HSAs because of my motorcycle accident, health savings account, which is also, it will be for another day, but that's tax free.
Yeah.
And that's how you prepare yourself. There's nothing wrong with preparation. You know, you ever heard that saying, you got two men and a wise man tells them that, okay, you have 9 hours to cut down this tree. And one dude is pretty much hacking away, puts it down, hacks it away, puts it down, gets the tree down. The other guy gets it done in an hour. And he goes, oh, what the hell were you doing for the 8 hours? He's like, sharpening the blade. I feel like sharpening the blade is having the insurance, preparing yourself for what is inevitable. And what's inevitable is death will happen, sickness will happen. We do everything in our power to make sure that we're good, but with the powers that be, unpredictable. And it's important that we have insurance on that. That's just my input on it, you know? What are some of the things that you wish that you would have taken action earlier when you got into this field?
Well, for one, I wish I had known about the power of compounding interest. I wish I had known about these types of like policies when I was like
younger,
20, like 18.
Listen, brother, same here. Hey, it's better late than never.
For sure.
Better late than never.
I was 27 when I got introduced to the industry and got my policy, but I wish that I had just known earlier about it. And, you know, I guess the thing is when you're trying to figure out, when you're, you know, kind of finding like your calling in life, like what you want to do, like, I don't think it's wrong to like try out different industries, like when you're in your 20s, like, I mean, I don't know, you probably know who Gary V, like follow Gary V,
yeah,
right? Like
Gary V, yeah, of course.
He's got, you know, his kind of like thinking is like a lot. It applies more to our generation. Like, it's not, people didn't think the way he thinks, you know, back 30, 40, 50 years ago. Definitely.
Well, my mentor now, Bert Olivia, he's the one who owns this studio. He's my mentor, and his slogan is "Make it happen." You know, there's no time like now. And one of the fundamental things I'm learning is, if they say you're crazy, you're probably in the right direction. That's one. Two, you literally are in control of the life that you want by the things you do and by the things you don't do. And when you bring up Gary Vee, that's one of the things he says, one of his most common things is like, why wait now? Why don't you just do it now? Why don't you just do it now? And I say it to you guys, why don't you take action now?
Yeah.
You know, but continue, sorry.
Yeah. No, so I was just bringing him up because a lot of times he talks about, you know, kids will come up to him who are, you know, 25, 28, 31, and they're like, man, I don't, you know, I'm not a millionaire yet. Like, you know, what am I doing?
What am I doing wrong?
Like, I haven't, you know, and it's like his whole perspective is, it's like there's not a time limit on when to be successful or when you can, you know, find your passion or you know, build success. I mean, the founder of like KFC, Colonel Sanders,
65.
or
65 or 64,
something like that.
Harrison Ford didn't get his first acting gig till he was 45.
Morgan Freeman, late bloomer,
very late bloomer. Samuel L. Jackson, you know, here's one thing I'll say about time. Time is important. It's the one thing you can't get back in this life. But age is just a number. Age just tells you how much time has gone by, but wisdom shows how well you have utilized that time. You know, so you have to strike the iron when it's hot. I personally, at 37 years of my life, I refuse to go home and ask myself, what if? You know, I can't do that to myself. That to me is self-sabotaging. To ask myself, what if? You got to be crazy, you know? And the best analogy I could put to it, say we're out, You know, we're hanging out a lounge and whatnot, and you see this beautiful woman looking at you.
Yeah.
You're looking at her, but you don't get up and you don't go talk to her. You go home asking yourself, damn, what if I would have said something to her? Yeah. That will torment you. Yeah. And it's the same thing with success. It's the same thing of life insurance. It's the same thing of entrepreneurship. It's pushing yourself to limits that make you uncomfortable, where you no longer can ask yourself, what if? And that is a blessing. It is a curse when you can ask yourself, what if? I don't want to live my life like that. I don't think you want to live your life like that.
Not at all.
So I do have some questions for you.
Yeah.
This is, before we close out, I have some questions for you. If you had 1 hour left to live, what would you do?
Ooh.
Yeah, that one hit.
I would spend it in the presence of God with all of my loved ones, just doing some worship and prayer. Yeah.
Yeah, I gotta shake your hand on that one. Amen to that.
Yeah.
Brother.
Getting
Amen
ready for the real deal. So
meet your maker. I'm ready,
yeah,
but I'm not ready.
Yeah,
but I'm ready.
yeah.
But I'm not ready.
That's what I would do. Yeah.
Is there food in heaven, Lord?
I saw a really cool video on scrolling through social media, and it was this family, and it was this mom or the grandma. She was like on her last leg, and they were all surrounding her, and they were just playing like upbeat, like, worship music.
Her music.
Yeah, and everybody was happy. It was like kind of a homegoing. I thought it was
a celebration of life.
It was a celebration. It was cool. It was really cool.
Let this be known to my family, my friends. I love you guys. God forbid anything bad happens. I'm saying it here and now. I want you all to celebrate my life. I want you to live. No one wears black. The only person who could wear black at my passing, God forbid, if it does happen, is my mother. Yeah. Everyone else, I want them to wear colors. I'm a happy person. Yeah. Remember me in peace. Remember me in happiness. It's not a sad day. I get to go home.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So I have a second question. If money was not an issue, what job would you like to have? Now, that could be race car driver, football. Like, if money was not an issue.
Yeah.
What job would you like to have?
Probably like a musician, like because I play piano,
clarinet and saxophone, baby.
There you go. Love it, man. Love it. Those horn instruments are tough,
bro. As many reeds as I've had gone through and split my lip. But continue. Yeah. Sorry.
No, I'd probably say music. Something to do with like.
Whether it's playing or producing?
Or, guitar.
Okay. Music, man, that's a unique industry. Yeah. Let me tell you, music is a beautiful, unique industry. So many branches. Okay. My next question for you. What hobby or interest do you have that people might find interesting?
Might find interesting. I mean, I would say, you know what I love to do? I love to go to the movie theater, like, and watch films like by myself, and just immerse myself in the film for like 2 or 3 hours. There's been times like when I was an actor, because I was really big into films, where I'd sit in the back of the movie theater, and like back center is like my favorite spot, and it'd be like an emotional war film or something, and
Hacksaw Ridge type.
Yeah, or even that movie 1917. I don't know if you saw that.
Yeah.
It's like it's supposed to be an endless cut, right? And I just bawl my eyes out. It's like
cry on command, or you just immerse into the film and
just
you feel it.
Moved by the film, like affected. I love doing that. It's like therapeutic. It's cathartic.
I like that. It's very stoic too.
Yeah.
To be able to do things by yourself is important because it's a form of self-love. Yeah. At least that's how I look at it. Sorry about that. I look at it as self-love. You know, a lot of people are like, what do you mean go to the movies by yourself? To you is different. We're becoming an actor. So when you visualize and you see things, it's different. You know, same building, different point of view. And I think that's something that's unique. Okay, so final question.
Yeah.
This one might shake you up. If you can go back in time and start over, knowing what you know now, what would you do?
Nothing.
I gotta shake your hand on that one. A man who don't ask himself, what if? All right. I like that.
No regrets.
I like that. No regrets. Real regrets. Okay. So, Daniel, please tell them where they can find you.
Yes. So you can find me on social media. You can find me on Instagram. My IG handle is at Daniel Paul Farias. So I'm just my first, middle, last name. And if you want to reach out to me, I'll just drop my phone number. If you have questions about life insurance or want to learn a little bit more, my number is 603-401-9090. And that's it. Yeah.
Again, make sure if this is your first time, you hit that like and subscribe button. Now, I'm still happy. I'm so happy with this episode because it brought such clarity to me.
Yeah.
I got some things that I got to do. You can find me at Logic142 on Instagram, and you can hit me up on 1424 on Instagram as well. Or you can hit us up on our website, 1424podcast.com. Inquire. You can also find his information, which will be linked to this video. And as you know, this is one thing for sure, two things for certain. You guys have a good one.